Hey everyone, welcome back to Thriving Thoughts. I'm your host, Dr. Sherri. Today, we are going to talk about something that you need to hear about because I know you and every woman, and a lot of men too, that I know have this thing that literally trips us up. Today, I'm going to ask you to determine what is the thing that trips you up the most. What's the thing that trips you up the most as you move forward in life, as you desire to move forward? Do you know what that thing is for you? I think I know what that thing is for you. A little presumptuous of me, perhaps? Let me give you the answer. The thing that trips us up from moving forward into happiness, success, fulfillment, whatever word you're moving forward into, is the past. And it's not just simply a matter of the past being the thing that trips us up. Rather, it is our focus on the past that trips us up. Here's a very simple visual for you. If you're walking towards something, if you're walking in a direction, let's say that direction is towards success, fulfillment, happiness, joy, embracing life, living la vida loca, whatever that thing is that you're walking towards, you will go off course if you are doing this. Looking behind you. There's a common question that a lot of people ask themselves and think that they need to know the answer to in order to move forward on that path. And until they get that answer, they stay stunted. They stay stagnant right where they are. There is no potential for moving forward because they are fixated on the past and they're fixated on why about the past. Why did I do that? Why did that thing happen to me? Why can't I just? Why do I always? If any of these questions are resonating with you, that means when you're asking yourself those questions, you are focusing on the path. You physically cannot move forward safely and land at your projected desired destination if you are looking behind you. Think about that if you're riding a bicycle. If you're spending your time looking behind you and you're on a bicycle and you're in motion and you're moving forward, you're going to crash. You're going to get injured. You're not going to get to your destination. Maybe you will one day, but certainly not unscathed. In fact, I don't think you can ever get to your destination if you're focused on your past. And, in my clinical work, people, even in the profession, they believe that the why is important. Discovering why we do something, why we have some of the habits we have, why we have some of the tendencies we have. I think the why can be important without being consuming and without being the thing that dictates us. So I think a lot of times what we do is we say, why am I this way? Why can't I do this? Why can't I figure this thing out for myself? We spend so much time on the why that we don't spend time actualizing the thing that we want to do or the thing that we want to stop doing. And sometimes it's about putting the cart before the horse. It's about actually moving forward and starting to do that different thing. You see, we have to stop asking ourselves these futile, useless questions that do not land us in happiness, in thriving, in fulfillment. They land us stuck in quicksand, falling back, looking at the past. Friends, the parts of your past that need to move with you, they're going to come with you. So grief, for example, grief changes over time. Your experiences of your past and the way that you think about them are what propels you forward. It's about interpreting your past in a way that allows you to use it to grow as a person. That's what it means to thrive, to grow through pain, not to focus on the pain, not to just look at the pain, not to wonder about the pain, wonder why it existed, wonder why it's here in the first place, wonder why we ever had to go through that. You physically cannot move forward if you're looking backwards because you will crash. You will have a wreck. You will get injured. The same thing is true of wherever you're trying to get to right now in your life. If you're hung up, if you're not getting there, if you feel like you're spinning your wheels, my hunch is that you're spending a lot of mental energy focusing on your past. And here's something very foundational, a foundational truth that you need to be aware of about the past. Focusing on it will never change it. But focusing on the past will change your future, and not for the better. How could focusing on the past change your future? Well, because when you focus on the past, you are allowing your brain, yes, your scientifically wired, human, amazing brain, to focus on those past failures, which incorporate, or your perceived failures, past experiences, whatever. But those past experiences incorporate your choices, your past choices, your past behaviors, your past responses, your past interpretations. And the other truth that we know is whatever you focus on is what stays with you. So if you're focusing on the past, you guessed it, your past is going to stay with you. So your past, focusing on it won't change the past, but it will change the future, and not for the better. Because you're focusing on the past and you're focusing on all of those things that came with your past, you are bound to repeat the same mistakes that you make. You're bound to be in this cycle, a vicious cycle that you so desperately want to get out of, but you don't know how to because you're focusing in the guilt or shame of the past. And very often that's what we feel when we look at the past, guilt or shame. You see, when we remember great things about our past, we don't typically focus on them in the same ruminative way that we focus on what we deem to be negative experiences or events in our past. We remember them fondly. We recount them in conversation, right? We say, I remember when, and it gives us that little moment of joy, and we continue to look forward. We typically don't focus, ruminate, extensively exert our mental energy on past moments that felt good, that felt great. We remember them and we move on. So why do we ruminate on past experiences or memories that aren't so good? Well, because one, our brains are naturally wired to look to the negative, and we are also each born with unique tendencies from the womb. That's right. So you might have a tendency towards sadness or regret or anxiety and fear. There are so many elements at play here. It's how our brains are naturally wired, humanly wired, divinely created, by the way. They're wired beautifully. And it's about our tendencies, our temperaments that we're born with. And it's about our experiences, but not just our experiences, our interpretation of those experiences, because everybody can experience the same event and there's going to be a gazillion different reactions or interpretations to that event. So if you're focused on past behavior and past choices, you are more likely to repeat them, even though you desperately don't want to. To look ahead, to look forward, means to divorce yourself from the past. It doesn't mean that there aren't pieces of that move along with you. There aren't pieces of grief that move along with you. There aren't pieces of joy that move along with you. Yes, they are, but they are not intended to keep the driver's seat of your thought world focused behind you. Those pieces are meant to move with you. And in order to move ahead successfully towards that fulfillment and joy and happiness and thriving that you desire, you have to be able to see clearly in front of you. That's how you avoid pitfalls. That's how you take those little pieces of the past that are with you and they're in the back seat and you go, oh, that looks familiar. Okay, let me steer around that. Or we say, oh, wow, that's definitely a great path. That's aligned with happiness. Because friends, looking back in shame and regret, that's not aligned with happiness. So here's my question for you. When you are thinking about your life and you say with your lips that you want to move forward, you say you want fulfillment, you say you want happiness, what is your mind focused on? Where is your thought world focused on? If it's focused on the past, then your energy is not being directed towards what you say you want, which is to move forward. So here's a question to ask yourself. Is what I'm thinking about right now aligned with what I say I want? Because if you say you want happiness, if you say you want joy, if you say you want to use your experiences to learn, to grow as a person, then you have to make a choice. You have a choice to make. You're either going to sit and stew in guilt and shame and not use that to grow, flourish, and prosper, or you're going to take the road of, okay, got it. Guilt, shame, did this thing. Okay, I see that thing again. How can I use this to grow as a person right here, right now? Is what you're investing your mental energy on right now aligned with what you say you want? It's a simple question to ask yourself to hold yourself accountable. And for most of us, we have to ask that question multiple times a day. That's what it takes to have a thriving thought world. That's what it takes to reach fulfillment and joy and happiness and all of those greater life experiences of having this regardless of what comes my way. This is what I mean in thriving in any and every circumstance. Thriving doesn't mean that happiness abounds 24/7. It means that you have a sense of purpose, you have a sense of fulfillment, and you know that everything that happens in your life is an experience through which you will move and from which you will take little pieces of to help you continue to grow on this journey of life. That's what it looks like to thrive. Not utter bliss, not utopia, not utter sheer happiness moment by moment, but that ultimate mega macro level of happiness, satisfaction, more than that, fulfillment, the ability to have abundance. So friends, if you're the one that's spending your time looking back, focusing on the past, you will never move forward to what you claim to want. Hold yourself accountable. And if you need somebody else to help you along the way, there's lots of ways that I can do that for you. And one of those ways is by joining my Thriving Thoughts texting community. I challenge you 3 times a week with something to ask yourself, something to consider for yourself to get you focused on the road ahead that you say that you want. All you need to do is text the word THRIVE, THRIVE, to 540-369-2139. You can also watch all of my videos on my YouTube channel. I have Little Lies, Big Truths live videos that I do on Facebook. I have lots of encouraging challenges of what I've learned about myself throughout my life on my Instagram page at Dr.Sherri Speaks. There's lots of ways to connect with me. And of course, if you're ready to dive deep, let me know. You can get on the waiting list for a coaching slot with me. All right, friends, we've got a fantastic interview lined up for you. You're not going to want to miss this coming Monday. Until then, please remember to speak truth over the lies, and you will thrive in any and every circumstance.